Hello and welcome to another week of Soap Secrets. We're going to be talking Coronation Street because just that's what we do. We start with Corrie. We love it. It's another week and another fight, of course it is, between Daniel and Max. And it stems from before Christmas. Now, Claire is joining us today. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Hannah.
Tell us all about it.
Yes, so we saw before Christmas that Summer had a crush on Daniel, and obviously Summer's only 18 and Daniel's a lot older than that, and he didn't really notice, he didn't really pick up on that. And Max, who did pick up on Summer's crush with Daniel, had also had a crush on Summer, and she didn't notice that, you know, Max had a thing for her. So there was a lot of argy-bargy and fisticuffs at the Christmas high school do, kind of like the Christmas prom do, the ice party, so the ice dance. So there's an awful lot of bad blood between the two of them. And Daniel is holding a workshop on consent. So, you know, this is a big thing, isn't it, Hannah, in today's society, consent. And we need to teach boys and girls what is consent. So, you know, this is a really, really big thing. So he's really pleased when Max turns up. But this all goes horribly, horribly wrong because Daniel makes a vague comment about Max's dad, David, being raped, because we know about 4 years ago David was attacked, and Max doesn't really understand this comment, so he asks his dad what was meant, and David is forced to come clean to Max. Now Daniel was way out of order because you should not be, that's not his story to tell, and also, you know, David has his family, and how he handles it or tells them or doesn't tell them is David's business, but this pushes Max, who is on the edge anyway, over the edge, and he manages to get hold of Daniel's keys, and he lets himself into Daniel's flat and he trashes it, Hannah.
Oh, really?
Yes, as I said, another fight. There's really a lot of anger between the two of them. And when Daniel comes home and catches him there, he spots a broken trinket from his late wife, Sinead. So, you know, in the trashing, Max has broken something that Sinead gave to Daniel. So, as I say, you know, the angst is really ramping up. And Daniel loses it and pushes Max out of the flat. But unfortunately, Max trips and he falls down the stairs. And
no. So it's like he hasn't started it, but he's finished it.
Yes, he has completely finished it. And he's a teacher at the school. Max is a pupil, you know.
Oh, dearie me. Do we get any sense of how bad this is?
Well, he's unconscious, so he needs an ambulance.
He needs an ambulance. Okay.
But the thing is, as a teacher, you can't do this kind of thing.
No, you can't. No, it's not allowed. But it is a soap, Claire, remember that.
I know.
And Nina is nowhere back to normal yet, is she? Nowhere near being back to normal.
Yeah. I don't think she would be anyway, would she? Because, you know, I think it was May time, so we're about 9 months from that. You know, she was attacked as well as losing her boyfriend. I nearly called Seb her husband then. Her boyfriend too was murdered. So, you know, you were attacked, your boyfriend was murdered. You know, it's going to take a long time to come back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So when Asher makes plans to go and see Glasgow Uni, because Asher's, you know, they're all these kids are growing up and they're all off to uni at the moment. So, you know, Def's really proud of his daughter, and she wants to go to Glasgow Uni. And Nina gets into her head that Asher will be in danger when she's up in Scotland. So she locks her in the cafe to stop her catching the train. Will Nina ever get over the attack?
Well, it's just so raw, isn't it? That's the thing. And it's affecting other people around her now by her actions.
Yes, completely, yes.
And of course we've got Valentine's Day. That's just reminded me that I probably need to think about that very commercial thing.
It's in a couple of weeks. You've got a couple of weeks.
Just like Christmas. Come on. And now it might be Valentine's Day in a couple of weeks' time. But Adam doesn't win any points for his birthday present to Sarah.
No, he buys her a smart oven.
I mean, it's up there with the Hoover, isn't it?
Yes.
Or an ironing board.
I know. So this is what I really like about Corrie. They put these little things in. So I talked about over the Christmas what Eileen got for Christmas, and Eileen got a funeral package from her husband. Her partner George.
That was brilliant.
I think that really ranks up there as the worst present.
Unless they'd absolutely discussed it. I mean, I think we're up there, but then we did have a discussion with it this year. We're like, okay, just buy a few little small things. We don't need anything massive, but we do need some new windows. And actually, I'd far prefer that we put our money towards doing something big. So we did that. That's really unromantic, isn't it? Now I've actually vocalised that. That's really unromantic, but it's not as bad as the funeral package. Some windows is better than that, honestly.
So I think that's why the writing is so superb, because you'd never in a million years, I don't know what you'd say if you opened that and you got a funeral package. You must think, I don't know what you'd think.
Yeah, I don't. There's no words for that, is there?
No, and a smart oven is just like, what was he thinking?
It's up there with the greats. Yeah. Now, moving on to Emmerdale. I mean, Emmerdale really has captured everyone, hasn't it, recently, with the whole Mina stuff going on that thankfully has,
yes,
come to a head. But it's still all going, Emmerdale, because it's the day of the Woolpack auction.
Yes, this is a really tough day for Chaz and Marlon because we know that there was that fire explosion at Christmas that sort of damaged it very badly. Then they discovered they didn't have insurance. Hannah, we knew that one because they hadn't informed the insurers of the development plans, and so they're out of cash. And so they have to auction it off. So this is Chaz. They're just heartbroken.
But they're heartbroken because this could go to any number of people, couldn't it? I mean, Kim. Yeah. I mean, yes. I suppose worst case, someone outside the village. This is the hub of the village.
Yes, it is completely. So we see Kim having a look through the auctioneer's pamphlet booklet. We've got her doing that. It's open to everyone. I mean, she might just be standing there having a nose. Anyone from outside the village. I mean, this would be a perfect opportunity, Hannah, for Emmerdale to bring in a new family. This is how
they could all club together. Do that nice thing.
have a cooperative pub where everyone works for free and they put the money in and the profits go back in or something. Yes, that's another one so anything could happen. And Kane is determined to fix things, knowing that this is breaking his sister's heart. So as the auction starts, Kane starts bidding despite not having any money to buy it.
Yeah, that's not quite the idea.
That is a bit scary. Moira's beside us. Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
You can't do that. You haven't got the money.
This isn't like just accidentally buying, going to an auction and just buying something for £200 and paying an extra £100 or something. This is a big chunk of money. But luckily, Hannah, he's outbid by an online bidder who has bought the Woolpack.
Yeah, who has? So you gave us a little hint earlier that it might be a new family.
Well, it could be anybody, couldn't it?
It'll be someone surprising. It'll be someone we know, I reckon, and someone that we're not expecting, but it will be a good thing. That's my crystal ball reading for you today, folks. Now, poor Rona, she gets a shock this week because her violent ex-husband, Piers, who had brutally attacked her on their wedding day, and then returned a couple of years later to kill her new boyfriend, gets in touch.
He does. So Pierce was just a hideous baddie, and we saw Rona being taken in by him, and on their wedding night he violently attacked her, and then she'd moved on from that. She was dating Graham, and Pierce came back and killed poor Graham. That was in 2020, so we haven't seen him since about early 2020. So he gets in touch. Now, this brings back lots of bad memories for her. She's in shock. Yeah. She thought she was shocked. She had got a shot of him when he was jailed for the murder of Graham. But no, and he writes to ask her to find his son Marcus, and he tells her that he's dying.
I bet he's not.
her best friend Vanessa is furious because, of all...
Rona's considering it. This is the thing.
Yes, she's considering it. And finding Marcus, and then when computer whiz Ryan helps track Marcus down, so Ryan just manages to go online and get Marcus's telephone number. I don't quite know how he does that, but Ryan's a computer whiz, so I think you can stalk anyone now, can't you, through Facebook? And
yeah, I'd never do that. What are you talking about?
So Marcus turns up at the village. What will Rona do?
What will she do? This is not going to end well, but another great storyline.
Yes, it is, and it's nice to see Rona get. She's been in the background a lot, so I'm really pleased that they brought Rona to the front to give her own big storyline.
And moving to Hollyoaks, it's all happening. Isn't it? Lots of people. Well, lots of bad things happening. So there was the explosion at the Salon de Thé.
Yeah.
And then this week we've got the funerals of Marnie and Sylver.
Yes.
And Marnie's son James is really spiralling because he's discovered what his mum left him in her will. And then he has an argument with Donna Marie, which gets him uninvited to Marnie's vigil.
Yes.
So, yeah, you can... I mean, funerals are a bit like weddings and soaps, aren't they? They're always slightly dramatic.
Yes, we had the explosion of the Salon de Thé. We had 3 people die: Marnie, Sylver, and Celeste. So this week we have the funerals of Marnie and Sylver, and James wasn't doing well before. He's certainly not doing well after it. And how you can get yourself uninvited from your mum's vigil, but he has managed that one. And at the vigil, a drunken James crashes it. You kind of knew that was coming, Hannah, didn't you?
Yeah.
And he frames Becky for stealing the vigil donation money. So obviously, they were doing a money collection, giving it towards a charity rather than flowers, which a lot of people do nowadays. So he's just being really horrible. He's a man on the edge, really a man on the edge. And with James needing the support of his friend Steve at his mother's funeral, evil Ethan holds Steve hostage so that James has to go alone. So we're still in this interesting place with Ethan still meddling and being evil. So So what will happen to James? Will he be able to get through his mother's funeral?
Yeah, well, not very easily, I wouldn't think.
No.
And
as we bury Sylver, we know that his stepson Bobby deliberately left him in the collapsed building.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah. And so just before the service, Bobby very cruelly tells his mum Mercy that Sylver never loved her.
Yes.
So
Bobby's becoming an interesting. He's almost like Hope Bobby. From Coronation Street, sort of
Yeah, I think it's quite good. They're quite good at sort of bringing in or making up the characters to become bigger, aren't they, to have bigger storylines? Because I think if you keep the same, and we've sort of seen that EastEnders, we centralise around certain people and then they leave and it's a really big problem, as we know, like with Danny Dyer, for example, going. It's a big problem, I would think, for EastEnders. But going back, before we move to EastEnders, Damon's on a winning streak in Hollyoaks, isn't he?
Yes, so he really badly needs to have a winning streak this week because we know he's maxed out his credit cards and his gambling habit. So he's got this winning streak. So as a gambler, sometimes you think your winning streak can never end, but everything ends, doesn't it, Hannah?
All good things come to an end, Claire, my friend.
Everything ends. And then Scott gives him a risky idea, or a bad idea, and I'm going to go with bad. And Matt Damon, who thinks this winning streak is going to continue, sets up his own gambling night at the Loft with spiralling James and evil Ethan. So there's 3 of them, and all 3 mean business. I mean, I don't think I'd go to a poker game with James and evil Ethan.
No, definitely not. And on the night, the players risk it all. Worst thing you can do. Don't risk it if you can't lose it, is what I would say.
Yeah. Yes, and 2 of the gamblers come out on top and the other one finds himself in serious trouble.
I'm going to have to find out, aren't I, on that one? You're not going to tell me.
No, you have to tune in, Hannah, because it'd be really exciting.
Yeah, no, it will be.
Because it's got Evil Ethan in there and Spiraling James.
Well, it'd be nice if Evil Ethan was the one that came out in trouble.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that possibly won't be.
Well, I think you might be right. Okay, so EastEnders. We've touched on EastEnders and our fears for Danny leaving. But anyway, let's go back to Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day talk, which makes me think I need to do something. It's coming soon, and we've got, guess what? Drum roll, a marriage proposal in Albert Square.
Yes. I think this is lovely. So, who do you think proposes, Hannah?
Let me think who it could be. Bobby.
Yes, your good guess. It is. Bobby proposes to Dana. So, love him. He asks his nan Kathy if he can borrow money for a ring. Isn't that sweet?
But Kathy's not too happy about it.
No, Kathy and his brother Peter aren't too happy about it because Dana's brother Aaron is in jail for trying to blow up the Argy-Bargy. Now,
I love that name, by the way. The Argy-Bargy. It's just brilliant.
The Argy-Bargy.
Just brilliant.
Whoever thought that really came up well, didn't they? Because everyone loves a bargy, but we've got the Argy in front. So so it's not poor Dana's fault, is it? This is, the Monroe name is now mud around the square. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with her. She didn't try to blow up the Argy-Bargy. She's not part of this nasty far-right group. She's just Miss Average who's fallen in love with Bobby. So I think they're judging her on her brother's crimes, Kathy and Peter. And so I'm hoping that, Bobby's able to move past what Kathy and Peter say.
Yeah, do you think Bobby will?
Well, I think so, yes.
Okay. And Zach, shock horror, is nice to Shirley this week.
Yes, yeah. Zach, I'm thinking he's bedding in nicely here. He was playing Frankie and Nancy off against each other, but that seems to have resolved itself now, and he's settling in. And he's really nice to Shirley this week. And it's been over a year since Gray killed Tina. That was just after...
I can't believe that.
I know, it was just after Christmas, so something like the 29th, 30th, something like that of December, just before New Year. Everyone still thinks Tina's alive, and she ran away because she was worried that she was being fitted up for the attack on Ian. And you have to keep going over that because people have forgotten about that. We've moved way on from those days.
Absolutely.
So, Callum organises a party outside of the Prince Albert, and Shirley muses that maybe Tina will turn up to this party, and she looks a bit down and a bit upset about it all. So Zach offers to help Shirley look for her, and the pair comb the mean streets of East London well into the early hours. But after failing to spot Tina, she tells Nancy that she can't keep looking. Is Shirley about to move on? Which would be, I think that would be sad.
That would be really sad. We can't lose another one.
No. So...
And it doesn't end there. Of course it doesn't, because the square is plunged into it's a big shock, isn't it? Because there's a loud bang.
Yes. There's been a gas explosion at the Argy-Bargy.
Oh my goodness! So is this my straight feeling is this an insurance scam? What's going on here?
Who knows? With the residents of Albert Square, it could easily be an insurance scam. It could be dodgy workmanship. It could be anything. Yeah,
it really could be. Wow! What a week! What a week in showbiz. World, really, the non-real showbiz world, soap world, I should say. Thank you, Claire, for all the gossip. We will be back next week. Enjoy this week of soaps, like we will be. Try and see if you can take Claire's hints and tips and work it all out beforehand if you're anything like me. And we will speak and see you again next week.